My name is David Lewis. Myself and my family have been in the Christchurch area for all our lives. My parents opened a business, Lewis Drug Mart, 35, 40 years ago. And we, over the time, have experienced a wonderful growth on the South Coast. Capital improvements with Accra Beach, Bubba's, South Beach, Quayside, going all the way, stretching towards the St. Michael border, all the way up to Oistins. I am very happy with the social environment. However, there are always challenges on development. And with these challenges, we have to look after our beaches, our boardwalk now, the wonderful opportunities of walking on the boardwalk, but we have to maintain these options and these benefits to the Barbadian society and all of those tourists that come and frequent our area. Government has done a lot to support, but I think that we do need to have further social support in the area because we do have quite a few homeless people, and I think that something can be done with that because it does negatively impact on the tourists or persons that are in the area. Overall, I can say that Christchurch has evolved and continues to evolve in a positive manner, but with everybody working together, the social and the economic parts in tandem, in equilibrium, this will be the new Diamond Coast of Barbados.
Well, what you have to do, right, with the young people today, you have to sort out some of those industries up in Newton and do them as training boards or training facilities so that the young people could go and learn something with their hands. You understand? That's what they go do. But that will tell you they got children that can work their hands good, create a lot of things, try to design something for the future cars. They could do all kinds of stuff. So I can't do it, but they should be able to do the industries up there in Newton Park, which has got a lot of buildings up there that closed down. You understand? That need this kind of programs so that these young people could go and do it and keep off the streets. But if they stand on the streets, they can only idle the brain and put themselves in trouble.
People be more interactive in terms of the citizens. They come out and hear what the people are saying, what grievances they got, the problems. The town hall needs to be a good idea, but as you know, I got a lot of older persons that we can't really get around. So be beneficial for the people to come out and interact with them, like with small surveys. Oistins is a good location, which is a town. I just feel I should invest more into Oistins, making it more like modernized. Yeah, so for instance, you can run a sea taxi service now from Oistins down from the coast straight down to town. You can even get as far as down to the West Coast. You got the space, you got the car park, so people can park the cars. Jump in the sea taxi, go down. We can also double as a tourist attraction. Tourists can come down and make Oistins more lively instead of just going as a Friday night spot. It'll be more through the whole week, or Oistins be practically open almost every day of the week. So you bring more people to Oistins, and you will get more persons spending money into Oistins. That you'll be able now to get a better, how should I put it? Better for the economy of Oistins. Should I put it that way. In terms for the tourists, once it's good for the citizens, it'll be good for the tourists. The tourists like to do things the locals doing. So if the locals happy, the tourists can be happy.
Hi, my name is Janelle Aline Ward. I am a proud resident of Christchurch. I've been a resident of Christchurch for the past 45 years. What I would like to see happening in Christchurch is a collection facility, whether above ground or below ground, where we will collect water. And this water will be used in the event that there is an emergency. Let's say there's a fire in the community, we can use that water and not rely on the Barbados Fire Service. Another idea I have is, I'm not sure if it is being done at the present moment, but there is a pavilion in parish land. And I would like to see teachers within the community offer a give back service where students of primary school and secondary school age come together on evenings and they will get the necessary assistance that they need with homework. The third idea I have relates to traffic and congestion on the road. So I would like to see a dedicated lane provided for emergency response vehicles as well as the bus service. I'm just thinking that with the improvement of these areas, we will make Christchurch a better place to be.
All right, good night, everyone. Welcome to the Christchurch Foundation School. Welcome to Ideas Forum, the Christchurch edition. Tonight, we are sharing the Christchurch venue with the parish regathering committee. There are a number of activities that are taking place. The school itself has organized a fundraising venture which is taking place on the playing field next door. So feel free to join them once we are done here, as well as the football matches that are on. So that's some of the noise you're hearing in the background, but not enough to drown us out. We've made the arrangement so that they don't drown us out. Hopefully some of their people will come over and some of you will want to go over afterward and mingle with the good folks, especially the young people of Christchurch. So again, welcome. My name is Roy Morris. I'm Director of Citizen Engagement and Media Relations in the Prime Minister's Office, and we're responsible for the organizing of these events. We have only one more left for the year, and that will be St. Michael, and that will take place next month. Now, your two hosts for tonight are ahead of me, Alex Downs, Prime Minister's Press Secretary, and Tahir Bulbulia, a young, dynamic social commentator who you will know from radio fame. The MPs for Christchurch are in the audience, so they are not the ones who sit at the head table in these events. They associate with you, and they're the ones who will take notes and make reference as is necessary. But it is really your night, not theirs, to share with them. Housekeeping. If you are planning to make a presentation tonight and you've not yet done so, please go over to the desk at the rear of the room on my right. They will give you a number once you give them some basic information, and that number will determine the order in which you speak. Bathrooms, ladies, are on through the door here, down the ramp on the right. Males, through the door here, up the ramp on the left. They're not hard to find. Apart from that, I think we are ready to go. Just to let you know, Prime Minister is not yet here. I'm not sure if she is coming, but I'm sure of one thing, and that is that she is monitoring the feed that is going out. So she will make her notes, and if necessary, she will, if she's not here, she will pass to me or one of the others to add to the debate. But the Deputy Prime Minister will be here shortly, and she will fill in as is necessary. So with that, I will turn you over to the two hosts, and as necessary, the microphone will be yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Roy, and once again, welcome to the Ideas Forum Christchurch edition. As Roy would have said, my name is Alex Downs. I'm the Prime Minister's Press Secretary. To my right is someone who's very familiar with the school.
My name is Tahir Bulbulia, and it's a pleasure to be here back at where it all started at the foundation school. And it's the Minister of Education went to school here as well. President of the Senate went to school here, and I know many of you may have attended this illustrious institution. And in everything, you always need a firm foundation. So, a minister husbands as well. I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all. So, lots of past foundation students here. So, excited to hear all the ideas tonight. And we're going to go straight in, and opening the baton tonight is a good friend of mine, Miss Lisel Daisley. You can come straight to the mic. Yeah. So the mic is to our left. And just say your name and where you are from in Christchurch, and then you can jump straight in. And if we have any questions, Alex or myself will be able to ask them to you.
Good evening. My name is Lisel Daisley. I live in Christchurch South, and I'm actually on the organizing committee for Christchurch Regathering. And throughout the past couple of months, I must say that I would have gained some friends, met lots of people from Christchurch, and we have been able to foster a really close-knit community spirit as a result of our activities. So I was thinking of ways that we can continue that community spirit throughout the coming years and not let it just end on the 31st of October. So one of the ideas I had was we could adopt a spot so we can, each constituency can select a spot in their constituency where the residents and a business owner, or a couple of business owners, can come together and maintain that particular spot so that children and people in the community can enjoy it. We can ensure that it is beautiful. We can ask for corporate support, maybe for swings and seesaws and that type of thing, so that, you know, there is longevity in the community spirit. I also thought about a community garden as well. I love gardening, and it would also contribute to food security. For example, there are seniors in our neighborhoods who, you know, don't always have access to healthy foods. It can also help single mothers who can't necessarily afford to buy vegetables for their household. And again, it would help to foster community spirit because the community would come together, plant, reap, you know, rate, rotivate, weed. It's a good way for people to come together and build friendships. For example, if they were to plant sweet potatoes and cassava, I don't even know when sweet potatoes and cassava is right, but if the older people in the community would come together and teach the younger ones, so that that can continue. I was also thinking of ways that we could sustain the social connection, and throughout the month we would have had so many lines and karaoke's and various other activities that brought people together, sporting activities, beach community activities. And again, we don't have to do this on a monthly basis, but we could probably look at doing 2 events a year, 1 event a quarter. We have 5 constituencies in Christchurch, so maybe 1 constituency can do an activity for the year, and we all come out and support each other. At the start of October, we had something called an entrepreneurial village, which was very successful. And the entrepreneurs, they message me and call me to this day asking, when are we going to do something like this again? How can they come out, let's say, to football tonight and set up their tent? How can they come out to whatever activity we're doing and set up their tent and sell their product? So we can create opportunities for them as well. Again, it doesn't have to be every month, it could be once a quarter, where we pick a venue in each constituency and we're going to have an entrepreneurial village on that particular day. Everybody comes out and supports them from the other constituencies. I also think that we have to find a way to engage our young people. So we could set up a council that would be made up of young people and have them plan events that they would like. Most of us on the POC are getting up there in age, and we may not necessarily know what young people like, even though we think that we do, and even though we planned some events that really engaged the young people, and they came out and they even asked for more. For example, our DJ spin-off was a huge hit, and even while the competition was going on, the young people were coming up to me and asking, when are we doing another one? And it wasn't even finished yet. We were probably not even halfway, and they were, when are we doing another one, right? So they want to be engaged, and I think that it's important to involve them. We planned it for them, but maybe they can plan it for themselves. And that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. If you can just come back to the mic for one. We just have a few questions for you. They're very good ideas. In terms of the gardens, the community gardens, I think it's a very good idea. In St. James South, we did something very similar across the constituency. So perhaps for Alex's purposes, if you can just earmark a few, or at least there's 5 constituencies in Christchurch, perhaps 4 per constituency areas that you would think are good for these gardens. And it doesn't have to be tonight, but if you can also share that, so that then we'll be able to know and then work to suit. But I know Alex has some questions around the entrepreneurship village, and I really loved the DJ competition the other night, so I really wish that can continue, providing a platform for those young DJs to share their talent in Oistins as well in front of a big audience. So kudos to whoever was the brainchild behind that. I know the committee and yourself and everyone worked very hard behind that.
Thanks, Tahir. And Lizelle, again, just want to congratulate you for the work you've done, obviously, in Christchurch. It's my home parish, so I've been to all the other parishes so far, so I must big up you on that. Great work. And the entrepreneurial village that you mentioned, we've had a number of people over the course of these ideas forum mention something similar. So talking about how we can have a space where small business owners can show off the trade and so on. And I see that you've had that. So I'm just trying to understand from your perspective, how did that work? How was it? And maybe perhaps we can use that as a blueprint then in other parishes that are looking to do something similar.
A Google form that people can go online and register. So we put the information out there in all the constituencies. And actually, as a matter of fact, during the gathering, we were not calling them constituencies. We tried to get away from that term altogether, and we refer to them as zones. So we were saying we have 5 zones. So we put the Google form out there. We got the information out to the various committees in each zone, and they would have reached out to various people in their zone who make natural soaps and handbags, and people wanted to even just sell popcorn. Some people were good at cooking wings and that type of thing. It was not only products that you can make by hand, but some people also wanted to sell food, which we encouraged. Information out there, and each zone office, not constituency office, would have gotten the information to their people, and they would have applied online. We identified Oistins because it is central and it already has an audience. Tons of people pass through Oistins. And one thing I noticed in the evening when it was coming to a close, that lots of tourists came out as well. So that was good for the entrepreneurs to interact with the tourists. We gave everybody a spot, we marked it out, and they came the next day, they set up, and they stayed all day. It was from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. We had music playing. That way, too, it would encourage people to come because they, heard the music and it draw them to see, what's going on. But like I said, from that activity, every time we had another event, people would call or message and say, well, can I come and set up my tent and sell? Yes, because they also said that they did very well that day, because we would have promoted it ahead of time and we would have encouraged the various zones to let their people know to come out and support. And obviously the media coverage also helped.
Thank you so much, Lizelle. Again, want to congratulate you, and you've given us some food for thought in terms of how we can apply this We Gathering spirit continuously. So next year, even if we don't have an official We Gathering event, we'll keep the activities going. And it's good to see that there's the interest as well in coming out to these events. So it shows that the community spirit is still alive and well. So
Even
again,
this week we had a church service right here in this school hall. And again, even before, sorry, not a church service, a gospel concert. And even before the gospel concert was over, people were asking, when are you doing it again? When are you doing it again? So it tells you that people love community and people want to come together and be with each other and interact and enjoy something healthy and wholesome. Thank you.
thank you again, Lizelle. I believe, Minister Abrams, you have something you just wanted to add as well?
So I want to thank Lizelle for her intervention. Sorry, good night, everybody. I see some interlopers. Welcome to Christ Church. Sandra. I want to add to what Lizelle said. So, so one of the things that struck me, so Christ Church in particular, because we have 5 different zones in Christ Church, we ended up almost in some instances cannibalizing each other, right? What came out though was a need for 2 things. I think every single parish should have a marquee event once a year. So you aim for that. And it's not political, it's not constituency. I know October is coming up. For October week in Christ Church, plan a big something all together, one big marquee event that people can look forward to. You can actually look forward every year to going at least once to St. Lucie, at least once to St. Peter, at least once to St. Andrew, at least once to St. Philip. This does not stop people from doing the other things. But you must have one big social marquee event, and I also believe that we should have one expo kind of thing. There was an open day at Ball's Plantation last Saturday, but that Ball's Plantation clashed with a lot of things on the same Saturday. But it was fantastic. Their big day is in January, when they're preparing for the flower competitions and whatnot. But so many people were there from Christ Church displaying their stuff. And I think people struggle to do flea markets. When you put on a flea market, you have to be able to advertise it. You have to be able to get the word out. I think if we do it on a parish level, just put it in your month. Nothing is stopping anyone from doing anything at any other time. But put that in your month. So people who have products, people who have ideas, people who have things to display, know that they have and paid for, advertised, included forum to showcase what it is that they do. So there should be 2 events, to my mind, per month. One should be a major social thing, and then one should be something that allows persons who are entrepreneurial, persons who have business to be able to market themselves. That's just my humble suggestion. And funded for and paid for by government.
That's important. Thanks, Minister Abrams. Again, great ideas, and I'm really hoping personally that's something that we can have happen in 2026. I think I speak for everyone here when I say that as well. So I'll move on to our next speaker. We have a Manfred McKenzie. The floor is yours, Manfred.
Hi, thank you and good evening. My name is Manfred. I'm representing the Barbados Trailway project. I am not from Christchurch. I am from South Africa. But my wife is Bayesian, and my son was born at QEH, so I feel like I can legitimately speak this evening. The Trailway project matters to Christchurch because the nursery for the trailway, where all the trees for the trailway come from, is based in Dover, in Christchurch. The workshop, which is used for the benches and the shelters that are used on the Barbados Trailway project, is in Gibbons Industrial Park, which is in Christchurch as well. Good. I'm not from here, so I'm glad I'm getting nods to show me where they are. The Trailway is an idea that addresses multiple puzzles in Barbados. I like the word puzzle because I think it's solution orientated. And I'll give you a list of some of the puzzles that I think the Trailway addresses. There's tree planting on the Trailway, and so that addresses the climate change issues, not just in Barbados, but particular to Barbados because of rising sea levels and increasing temperatures, and creates lovely shade, and you can walk along the Trailway. The Trailway addresses food insecurity, because we have a new varieties of mangoes that's being planted along the Trailway. There's breadfruit trees planted along the Trailway. There are coconut trees, of course, planted along the Trailway. So it addresses the puzzle about food insecurity. The Trailway addresses non-communicable diseases, in that there is actually a fitness and some play equipment on the Trailway as well to encourage exercise at the Carmichael section of the Trailway. And of course, just walking on the Trailway is good for you. So, I mean, there are so many stories that I could elaborate upon for the Trailway as a good idea for Barbados. And the resources that help equip and support the Trailway come from Christchurch. So you're already involved. And if you don't know about the Trailway, it's barbadostrailway.org, and you can go and find out more about it. So Christchurch, now you know about the Barbados Trailway project. I hope that we'll see more people out on the Trailway to help address some of these puzzles that exist in Barbados, and also just get us all feeling better. Trailway also addresses mental health because it's a beautiful space. It cuts across plantations and parishes, and so it's a great opportunity to celebrate the heritage of Barbados as well. If you have any questions, I'll be at the back, but otherwise, Trailway, barbadostrailway.org. Thank you.
What's his name? Manfred is the name. How does the Barbados Trailway project sustain itself? How does it function, or is it funded?
So the Barbados Trailway project is part of the Future Centre Trust, and we obviously rely on donations, but that's a charity, and so it's funded by volunteers, people literally like myself going up and clearing the land. And it's not my day job, but you know, we all get stuck in. And the tree planting is supported by corporates and various sponsors and community groups that get involved and come and do the tree planting. It's a great corporate activity, but it's also really a meaningful way of giving back, not just to Barbados, to the planet.
Thank you so very much for your input tonight. We're going to move straight ahead to Grantley Seeley. Grantley Seeley, you have the floor.
Good night, everyone can hear. I am Grantley Seeley, and yeah, you can hear me now? Yeah, good night. The name is Grantley Seeley. Oh. Yeah, thank you. Hello again, and good night. I am from Mr. Strong's constituency. On the fringes, he usually forgets us out there. My first order here is I think we should have a radio station in Barbados dedicated to Barbados. I know that CBC has 94.7, and I would like to hear that it is strictly Bajan. I don't want to hear Jamaican music, Trinidad music, or nobody. We have sufficient, a big enough library of music as well as players that we can use throughout the day. I don't want to be hearing all the time about an American artist's birthday or anything like that. We just had a situation where yesterday we opened a new fire station. We should be getting information about those people who we named the station after on a radio station. These are the kind of things, this fellow here, more people. These are the kind of things that we need. Yeah, these are the kind of things that we need in Barbados to uplift everyone. And I can be able to tell someone overseas, just tune in here, you will hear Bajan. We want to hear the dialect. We want to hear everything about Barbados. We don't want to hear about anybody else. Because I know that we've gone ahead with this project for regional unity. I have no problem with it. But when you get here, we want to hear a Bajan voice. We want to hear stories about Barbados. We want to hear who this body was. You can't name all of these buildings and don't have any identity, or the youngsters don't know what is going on with us. It's true that I am on the other side of the fence now, but I would like something like that done. It hurts me every day that I turn on 94.7, which I thought was set up to be Barbadian, and I can hear all of this Jamaican music and Trinidad music. So I am pleading with the authorities to make this station strictly Bajan. We know we have a lot of influx of visitors now and people who will be taking up residence here. And we don't want to lose what little we have. I am finished, but you go ahead. Repeat that.
I just want to ask you about your first point that you raised. So having a Bajan station, not just Bajan music, we're talking about Bajan information, history,
everything,
culture, and so on. So obviously you're suggesting that that's coming from a place, obviously, of loving our country. But in your opinion, do you find that that's something that's lacking, the knowledge of, what is Barbadian?
Yeah.
So you see it where? Do you see that in young people? Do you see it
in Bajans?
In Bajans. If you could elaborate.
No. I do a lot of walking all over the country. And I take a lot of pictures, and we share in a group chat. And when I show people, they don't know what I'm talking about. They always figure it's something overseas. And I've been getting this about the last 4 or 5 years. And talking to people, you always get the same thing, but this ain't about here. And it's that there that I feel that we are losing. And we got to do something about it. Okay, continue. Okay, I am finished with the radio. My next item is that recently I heard the Minister of Tourism says that we got to make sure the Barbados brand is protected in relation to the B&B. I would like also to say that the Barbados brand has to be protected with the way we are keeping our surroundings. And nobody is paying any money to it. I do not want to just hear the police say, see something, say something. I want to hear do something. And this relates from the President of Barbados, even the President of the Senate, down to the lowest person. See something, do something. This is what we want. I cannot understand how we can have a situation where we got a Ministry of Agriculture, and just down the road, you can see all these decaying coconut shells coming all up the highway to the airport. It is ridiculous. It is downright ridiculous, and we are doing nothing about it. Every year, we just talk. And it is really shameful and disrespectful. We keep on talking about Brand Barbados, but we don't feel that this has nothing to do with Brand Barbados. I feel it should be a dedicated cleaning service between Oistins and Bridgetown and Spikestown, because that is the most traverse area for locals and visitors. As I said, I do a lot of walking, and when you walk, I know the politicians might not do any walking now. When the election call, that is when we will see them walk. And that is when they will know that the road is dirty and the cracks are there. And it is shameful when you go on these roads and see the condition of them. And I do not see it should cost any additional expense to have dedicated people to do this work. It is really disgraceful. And as I said, from the top to bottom should do something. And I'm going to give you an example. Funny examples. Coming out of the roundabout by the Polytechnic, going down the hill. That road was done now for about 3-4 months. You know they can't put in markers yet. Go to the hospital. I can give you the other one.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I want to ask you something again, just based on what you're saying. Because you're talking about the cleanliness of the environment. So residential, commercial, so on. I'm not sure if you would have been watching. There was an ideas forum we actually had a couple months ago. And there was a young girl a student, I think she was St. George, very young, but she had a similar concern. And her suggestion was that at least, I believe it was once a month, we have a national cleanup day. So not just you're saying government, you do X or Y, but also everyone understanding that is your responsibility as well. So every corner. So I'm not saying it's the same idea you have, but I'm just saying that you're also echoing sentiments that have been shared before. So that was just a solution that was put forward where everyone takes into consideration. We all have a role to play in keeping Barbados clean. So it's not just a government or a private sector initiative.
The other example I'm going to give you, which goes back to what I said, that see something, do something. Every day we have thousands of people visiting the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Do you know at the exit, coming out from the hospital, everybody that went through the front door that used a vehicle has to come through there. The staff, everybody. You know there's an abandoned vehicle right there and nobody's doing anything? And that's the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, you know. So when you see things like this, it is really hurtful. I have a picture of the van. It's just abandoned there in the corner, and nobody does anything. All we seem to be in this country are members of NATO. We're the smallest country that are members of NATO. And we're standing for the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. No action, talk only.
So, again, don't want to interrupt you, but I'm going to have to. Because I understand the points you're making, sir. But at the same time, to suggest that there's no clean enough or so on, there's not perfection as present.
We agree with that.
We agree.
Right, but don't tell me that every day you coming out from the hospital, which is responsible for health.
I take your point.
And the vehicle there, and nobody's doing anything about it. That is what I'm getting back. See something, do something.
So I think we all take your point on that. But I don't want to unnecessarily suggest things that aren't the case. So if there is, as you said, your points are noted, and we'll actually follow up. That's what we do at every IDEAS forum.
Right.
But the greater point you're raising, that the environment that we live in, we all have a role to play. That's what I'm taking from what you're saying.
Good.
Yes. And I don't know if you're finished, but I know that we have some people who want to respond to some things that you said. So if we can have that opportunity as well. So I think you want to offer something as well?
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to respond to Grantley's first indication in relation to more Barbadian content on the radio. So about 2 months ago, the National Library Service launched what is called Radio Bimshire. Radio Bimshire is a radio program that does Grantley exactly what it is that you're talking about. It carries oral history about Barbados. It gives information on a number of the traditional ways of life, stories about washerwomen and how we used to have the wash days, and it gives all Barbadian content. Now, I think that we have to do better in the division of culture to advertise and publicize that, but I do want to say to you that it is ironic that Radio Bimshire perhaps has gotten more attention overseas. We have people from India, from Russia, etc., who are tuning into Radio Bimshire to hear the content about Barbados more so than Barbadians are. And that is something, yes, that we need to be able to raise the consciousness about. Additionally, coming out of Carifesta, one of the things that struck us, when I say us, the Division of Culture, was we noted that we had lots of content coming out from all of the various, whether it was conversations that we had, discussions, plays, etc. And two things have emerged. So one, we are in discussion, so let me say discussion about the possibility of actually having a dedicated television channel, a dedicated culture television channel that will allow us to be able to air some of that content so that it lives on beyond Carifesta, and allows us then to be able to keep the sharing going on. And also as well, the University of the West Indies has also approached us to look and see how, coming out of the symposia and the conversations, that we can actually transcribe some of those and then also as well begin to further disseminate. So Grantley, just to say to you that we are consciously thinking about how we ensure that Barbadians understand more about their culture, how to use new ways of getting that information out as well. Next year, for the Season of Emancipation, we will actually be launching an app, again, that will encourage everyone to know more about the Season of Emancipation and why we are doing it. So we're consciously thinking about it, Granny. Thank you.
Senator, just before you go, where can persons find this radio BIM share?
Well, right now we're trying to put it in the App Store. We haven't done that yet. But if you actually just go online and put in Radio Bimshire, it actually comes up on an independent app. But within the next couple of months, hopefully by the end of the year, it would actually be in one of the app stores that you can get on your phone.
But you know that I don't think you can get it on your radio. On your radio. You can't get it on your radio.
Sorry.
So Grantley, I hear you, I take your point, and I identify entirely with your point. As the person responsible for information, so radio station licenses fall under me, every single independent, we try our best to get the stations to play a certain percentage of Bajan music and Bajan content. In the week up to independence, coming to independence, we try to get them to go 75-80%. The only body that does it are the government stations, because they cannot get the sponsorship to get it done. So you feel that way, I feel that way. Unfortunately, the persons who have the money to float and to provide the backative for the stations don't feel the same way. It is a challenge every single year. Look out for it, this independence. We are pushing. You're going to realize that, quite frankly, the only people that follow that ethos and push that agenda are actually government stations. So anything you're suggesting here now with 100% Bajan content is going to have to be government alone.
I know that.
All right.
I don't expect it to come from the private sector. But what I'm asking is that at the moment, you can't get it on the radio, on your car radio. You can't get Radio Bimshire, and this is the problem, right? Because you should be able to just turn and get it. I know about the station and everything, you see, but you can't get it in the radio. And this is my problem.
So Grantley, I really commend you for your points tonight, and I certainly support the need perhaps for that Radio Bimshire even going on the radio. But the fact is also too, as Minister said, it comes with a lot of money. So, and then also to your point on the dialect on radio, you'd be very surprised at the amount of Bajans who do not want dialect on radio. You'll be very surprised by that. When it was on radio, I had that conversation with Alex, I had that conversation with Roy. When it was on radio, a lot of people had a challenge with me speaking dialect on the radio to certain callers. But it is a conversation that we have to have about our identity, Bajan identity. Maybe they're surprised that a little Indian boy speaking more dialect than them. But that's a conversation for another day. I know Minister Duguid had a point to make. Yeah. So Grantley, thank you so very much. Please give Grantley. Okay, we're going to give you 2 minutes, Grantley. We're going to give you 2 minutes.
One more item. These days it is a little difficult for me. These days it's a little difficult for me to identify school children. It seems like we have a lot of school thugs now. And I don't know what the Ministry of Education could do to help us.
Rally.
Don't.
I want you to suggest an idea or solution. And as much as I know you may passionately feel about what you're saying, I don't want you to deem the school children as thugs. I know how you feel. I understand what you're saying,
But-
but it's power of words as well. So,
All right,
yeah.
okay. Well, let me put, you will say disorderly children? Let me use disorderly children. So, disorderly children. You know, I back up sometime today, and I try hard to talk to them. I don't know what we're going to do, but we got to put our heads together to save us. You know, because the statistics that the police gave yesterday isn't sobering statistics. You know, it's really upsetting. And we got to try hard and harder. You know, we got to, listen, what hurts me is that the legislative people, all dress fancy when they're going to the House Assembly, they can't go to work in the Supreme Court unless they're spick and span and tidy. But somehow they seem to allowing the children to do as they like when they're going to school and coming from school. That is all I am going to say. The people who legislate have to present themselves very decent. They have to present when they go in court, spick and span. I saw them last week when the young lawyers were being admitted. All I am begging is from help because we have many more years to go. I want to live at peace. Okay?
Points
Thank you
taken,
all.
Grantley. Thank you so much, Grantley, for all the ideas you've shared. Mr. Duguid?
I too want to join in thanking Grantley for his opinions that he shared, but I can't agree with his characterization of NATO. And Grantley himself would remember at a parish speaks when he spoke about a coconut rolling into the road and the problems of coconuts rolling into the road. And we did not just have talk, we went and took action. There at Newton, we developed a space for the people selling coconuts too. We also put a skip there for them to be able to put it in. So it is not only talk, we also have action. Now I accept as well that the government is not perfect. Nobody is. And I accept perfection is divine. That is only for the Lord. However, we do try our best. We are certainly making headway in terms of cleaning up the facilities, getting our cleanup days, working with the sanitation. You remember when we took office, there were 7 trucks. Now we have 12 trucks. Now we have how many? Over 60 trucks. That is not just talk only. That is action. And that is what this government is about. Do we do everything perfectly? No. Are we trying and improving and making things better? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I want to make it clear. And when it comes to cars that you see that are derelict, there is a process. You cannot just go and take up somebody's car because it is their property. You have to put the sign on it, wait the time for them to respond, then go through the MOH when it's put, give them more time. So you have to understand and respect the rule of law. And as we continue, there's also a call-in facility that gives you an opportunity to say what is there. We then follow through and make sure that things are done. So yes, we have things to do. Yes, there's work to be done, but we're doing our best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senior Minister. We're going to go to the next speaker we have, and Abraham Searles. Mike is yours, Abraham.
Thank you very much. Good night to the Christchurch folks and those beyond our borders. I particularly, my name is Abraham Searles. Yeah. I'm a short guy, yeah. My name is Abraham Searles, and I live in Bonesland, Christchurch. And I traverse this parish of Christchurch that I call home. You might hear from my accent that I wasn't born here, but over the years, I have acquired a taste for everything Barbadian. And I'm very happy to call this place home. I won't have it any other way. But as I traverse Christchurch, and particularly the Coast Road, that Enterprise Coast Road, I have a concern. And the thing is, that this administration is an administration that cares about people. And as I traverse the coast road, and you would know Atlantic Shore is a middle class area. But we have a lot of people who work in that area as caretakers, construction workers, domestic, and we do not have a public service transport out there. And what that means is that people that work out there has to get off in Keezer Hill and traverse for a mile, or they might get off in Enterprise Main Road, by Ernie Blackman's shop, and then that's another mile they have to go to work. Now that is not fair. I recognize that as a problem, but I ain't only coming with a problem, I come with a solution.
I like that.
And the solution is that we can have during the peak hours for those workers, maybe from 6 to 9 in the morning, maybe 2 services going through there, and an afternoon, the same thing, so that they can get up to their work and get back. So that is something I would like we to look at. That's one. The other one I'm concerned about is the environment. Listen, we have to be kind to Mother Nature. It has been kind to us through the years. We have to pay more attention to our surroundings. And I believe the time has come for us to do the recycling and the sortation. And the reason for that is that our Prime Minister is a champion when it comes to climate change and the environment. And I believe she's not only doing this for herself, but she's doing this for the whole world. We have got to leave this planet a better place than we found it. We have to take care of Mother Earth. If we fail to do that, there can be repercussions. And we are doing this for not ourselves only, but for generations to come. So I pray that we would look at those things and see if we can address them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Abrahams, and I can tell that you're very passionate about Barbados, so I consider you one of our own as well. All right? Your ideas, I really think we can take on board. I know the minister was indicating to me as you spoke about the bus route. That was the old St. Christopher bus route. So again, we have the information. I'm sure that's something we'll take a look at, as well for your suggestions about the sortation of garbage. Again, great idea. I know that there are private companies who do that. There are areas who have their garbage sorted. So your plastics, you separate from the recyclables and so on. So I hear your suggestion about taking that on board. And again, that's something that has to go with scale. So that will take some time. But again, we can't be the only person thinking about that. I'm sure that that's something that's in tow. So thanks for the suggestions and the ideas as well. And the next person we have, I see a Joel Garner that's scheduled to speak. I believe you need no introduction, sir.
Please give the cricket legend, Joel Garner, a massive round of applause and welcome, a former student of the Christchurch Foundation School as well.
Good evening. Good evening, peoples. I'm only going to make 2 little small contributions. I hope it is not controversial. I would like to suggest to the Ministry of Transport and the Police Service to revisit the traffic laws. We are having a lot of problems on the roads with the ZRs and the minibuses and everybody. And I think that what we have to look at is to allocate 1 court for traffic and have fixed fines and disqualifications. I can lose my license in England in 1 day if I make 4 mistakes. Not only lose my license, I'll pay away money every time I make a mistake, and then I'm banned for 1.5 years. And if I'm caught driving while I'm banned, you get prison for 18 months. I think we have to do some things that are uncomfortable for the people to wake up. my contribution is that I think that we have to look at it. We have enough retired civil servants that we can put them to, give them the laws and let them put fines to the laws. And if you don't pay in 2 weeks, you contest it, you go to court. And then when you go to court, the fine is usually double or treble, if you put it that way. And I think that it will bring a little bit of order to what is happening on the roads. The other thing I'm going to try to talk about, and it pains me because it's cricket, I'm holding all legs. And it being modest when I say holding all legs. But we have lost 3 or 4 of our major sponsors. If you come up Wildy Road, Barclays, West Indies cricket sponsor, Ground is now into football. Banks, West Indies cricket sponsor again, Barbados cricket sponsor, football again. BT, sponsored West Indies cricket, football. I think that we have to, and I don't know, I think I've seen the Minister of Sport. Sorry, but I'm gonna have to ask you to try to see how the Ministry of Sport and Education can get back together where, the two of them can plan and sell cricket to the youngsters. We're making a lot of noise about football, but we've had 350 test players so far playing cricket for the West Indies. I don't think that when you look around, we can name 10 footballers who represented Barbados in England in Premier League. And I think that one of the things that we have to do is allocate some of the grounds that are around for cricket only. I'm part of an organization with about roughly about 55 of us. And I would say that all of us are coaches, but actively, about 40 of the fellas are active coaches. And I am looking forward to the time when I can say that you can send your son or your nephew or your grandson to a place where we'll be able to give back, not only to them and to the sport of cricket, but to coach them and try to bring them into the game. Previously, let me just take you back maybe 10, 15 years ago. The Legends used to do a program at assembly in the primary schools, where we went to the primary schools and we talked to the class 3s and 4s and encouraged them to play cricket. But I think that we are not doing a very good job of selling cricket to the youngsters, and it is a notable profession. I'm one of the lucky ones who have been able to travel the world free, see the world free, and perform. Gee, don't rub it in, don't rub it in. This morning was painful. And I think that, it is something that we have to sit down and discuss, even if we have a group of 5 or 6, how we can put the cricket back to the little youngsters and encourage them to play more cricket. I think that is my contribution for the day.
Thank you so very much, Joel. Before you go, I just have a few questions for you as well. As it relates to cricket and education, cricket education, do you believe that there's a need for a component of the history of cricket and the importance cricket played to the development of West Indies in the curriculum within starting from our primary school straight away up?
Yes, without a doubt.
Just hold the mic.
Sorry. Yes, and I said without a doubt there is. Two things go together. The education and the sport goes together because the cricket teaches you discipline, and discipline is doing the things that are uncomfortable, even if you don't want to do them. And it takes you back to my training days. If my grandmother didn't hear the door slam at 5:30 in the morning, the next thing I would hear is, "Hey, Sonny, you all right?" That means get up and get on the road, even if I didn't want to go. And I think that you can take it back to both of the disciplines, the education and the sport. And I think that the youngsters need to know, more about it and know more about us. I've been in 1 or 2 gatherings, and I think up to yesterday, this lady, I excuse her, she got me about 30 odd, and she said to me, "Gee, you had to play basketball." I said, "Nope. The only one sport for me, cricket. I played basketball for fun, I kicked football, I played road tennis, I played everything, but when it came to time for cricket, everything went through the door, and it was cricket. And I think that we have to get back to letting the kids know that, you know, it is worth it. And one of the things that happened too during the school year with school sports is that you see as soon as you get near to 11 plus, the principals tend to pull the children away from the sport. And, you know, I think that you can do both together.
And I also have a follow-up question from that. I don't think that there's a shortage of talent in this country. But beyond the education curriculum, from your perspective, how do we equip the coaches who coach in our communities, our clubs, even beyond the schools, to, I don't want to say be aware of what you're speaking about, but go deeper to pass it on and understand the importance of passing on this knowledge to the persons that they are coaching? How do we build that sense of importance amongst these coaches?
I think you have to do it like how you do with the teachers. Teach the coaches to coach and teach them what is important to impart, when they impart the knowledge to the youngsters. You know, you just don't take it for granted that because you're a cricket coach, that you're a good teacher, or, you know, vice versa. So I think that it is easy. When they say it's easy, teach the coaches to teach and give them the information to impart when they go wrong to the other kids.
Thank you so very much for that. And that is, I think that is very, very critical. So thank you so very much for sharing that. And I think it goes back to where we're at and about identity. I think we as a Caribbean people, Alex, I don't know your thoughts about this, but we as a Caribbean people need to truly understand the impact of the West Indies cricket team through the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, not just on the cricketing world, but on the colonial movement as well. And I think if our players were to truly understand this, they would have a much deeper meaning when they play cricket for West Indies and passion for West Indies. But that's a whole different conversation. That crosses not just sports or cricket, but that's education, culture, everything basically, health, as you talked about, discipline and all of that. So it's a conversation that we can have from now to the coast come home. But we don't expect anything different from Foundation products. So thank you so very much, sir. And next up we have Miss Althea Wiggins, who is going to come and give her piece. Please give her a round of applause.
Good night to everyone. I've been a proud member of Christchurch South for the last 43 years, so Christchurch South to the world. I have a few issues, and actually they fall under the Deputy Prime Minister's purview. My daughter went to school here at Foundation, so we had to cross that junction right there every morning. I think that junction there needs some kind of signaling, some kind of attention, and you went to school here to minister. Because it is very, very difficult if you're crossing, even turning down, to go down Oyston's Hill. It's pretty difficult. So I believe that we have to address that sooner rather than later. My other issue, as again, probably come under you again, right here by Christchurch Parish Church, I believe, Mr. President, you would know where Sir Harold St. John is buried, right there in the corner. You see, if you're going, I think that we have to address that, that corner. Up to tonight, when it was coming here, I had difficulty because a truck, a big bus was coming, and it's really difficult in that corner. So we don't want to desecrate Sir Harold's grave, but I think that we need to address that, that jutting out in the road right there. I guess you will have to speak to the parish priest to see how it can be addressed, because a lot of these roads, you know, a lot of the boundaries come right out in the road, where you have to travel. So I think that that's another critical issue that could be addressed. Another one is there in actual Oistins, where the buses and the minibuses actually park. I think that we could actually pave out there and bring a bit of order and tidiness to that area where the transport board is and where the minibus is, because there's a lot of unevenness in that area over there. So I think that we can actually do some paving and possibly do some markings, the long ones for the buses and the shorter ones for the other cars who want to do business at the post office, etc., and the polyclinic, and maybe the police station as well. And last but by no means least, our national anthem. I wonder how many school children actually know the words to our national anthem, because most times when we go to official or even unofficial events, the anthem is played. I think we need to sing it. When I served overseas in the United Kingdom, we always sang the national anthem because people want to hear the words to the national anthem. So those who have ears and who can make that decision, especially next month is Independence, I would like to hear our national anthem being sound as well as being played by the police band. So with those few words, I thank you.
Althea, I want to thank you and I want to salute you, especially for that last point. I always try to sing the national anthem anytime it plays. I can't promise it'll sound good, but I sing it every time because I think it's important for us to connect with the words. Hearing it is one thing, and you might even sing it in your head, but when you actually speak those words and you start to take in those words, for example, a song might be playing. We've got music playing now. I'm sure many people might hear a song and they start tapping the foot and singing the lyric. It sticks in your mind. And I feel as though we need to start that culture of singing the national anthem proudly. You do it when you go overseas because you want to show your Beijing. You could do it at home too. That's just how I feel personally. So I salute you on that, and I would love for that to be something that we take on board here. So I don't want to take too long because you've raised some really good points, but again, that's food for thought, which I think we've all taken in. And so with that being said, I'd like to move to the next speaker we have here, Mr. Ernest King. The floor is yours, Mr. King.
Well, my phone died as I was waiting to come up, so I must speak from memory. There were 7 ideas I had, but there are 2 that I will make mention of publicly. I remember back in 2018 when the notion was raised of idea forums and persons were encouraged to email ideas into the government. I suggested back then that in order to deal with the legal gridlock that we were experiencing as a nation that had really seriously undermined the system, I suggested then, and I will suggest it now again, that Barbados turn to 4 of the oldest members of the CARICOM, right? Mental block, the Commonwealth, namely the UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, and ask each of those countries to grant Barbados the use of a legal team, which would include a judge, a stenographer, a clerk of the court, and these persons then would then come in with the experience from their mature communities and see if they can advance the whole process of the legal gridlock we had. Because even though we have appointed new judges were appointed earlier in the administration in order to deal with this matter, many persons don't get the sense that the speed at which this gridlock should be starting to be freed up is occurring. And as you know, justice denied, or justice delayed is justice denied. So I would like to encourage the government to examine the possibility of approaching that. And I believe that if we approach these four early members of the Commonwealth who are well entrenched, who have a good history in the Commonwealth and under Westminster jurisprudence, that these ones will be willing to give us 2 legal teams each. That would give us now 8 additional courtrooms that we could try and fast track. And we could just ask them, give us for a limited period, 5 years, rather than trying to bring someone out to the US who is not familiar with the legal system. And then see if you can then start to unplug the gridlock in this thing. So that's one. Of the other 6, I would mention this one. Coming out, when we look at what happened in South Africa over the last 3 years, South Africa went through a period of violence meted out by South Africans against other Africans as a result of what many persons in South Africa perceive as loss of opportunity. What I'm saying here is that we have now gone into the free movement of people in four countries, and that's excellent because we don't have the critical mass in this country to really have a meaningful economy, and to be truly competitive. So this is necessary. But it is better to have a prenup before the wedding, or at least have it before the first argument. And I am suggesting that the governments of the Caribbean, certainly these 4 governments, should approach perhaps the Caribbean Development Bank and say to it, let us provide a fund there which we would use in the event that there is the system between the 4 countries move out of equilibrium. And let us say there was a mass exodus from 3 communities to 1, where the balance isn't maintained. Then what happens now? Barbados economy is steaming, it is storming ahead at every corner. So people are happy to get to let persons come in. But if an economic downturn occurs, people can often, driven by ignorance or by personal needs or by other vicious perceptions, seek to incite the population that these persons come and take away jobs. When things are good, it is not a problem. But if things start to get tight,
Okay, sir, I'm gonna have to just be careful with the line that you're going down.
How do you mean?
In terms of the inciting of the violence, we're not encouraging that. We have our systems here to protect us, and I'm pretty sure that
you may have misunderstood what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that this is all good.
Okay.
But I am suggesting that the
If you can go to your idea.
Huh?
If you can go to the idea that you are suggesting.
Or listen, it may become the fact that you've gone down that line perhaps mean that you've misunderstood the point I'm making. So let me just drop it, and perhaps on the side we could explore it a little bit more. But it was a purely positive idea because this is something good. This is something
Okay, we'll continue. You can continue.
I don't want to take up too much time.
No, you go right ahead, sir.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that let us say in 5 years and there is a downturn in the economy and persons start to say, well, these persons have come in, taken our jobs, or they have come in and burdened the healthcare system. If the Caribbean Development Bank had an equilibrium fund that they can say that in the event that the free movement of people has disproportionately affected one country, then that the Caribbean Development Bank could say, these are resources which we have set aside. The same way we had the Climate Damage Fund or we had other funds, the Caribbean Development Bank can say, okay, your health resources are under strain and we calculated that there's a 3% increase in this. We have set aside funds, this is funds for Barbados, so that no one can say then that we are now taking our money. And there's nothing wrong with taking our money, but you're trying to preempt the negative fallout from persons who may seek to charge the system or say that this is why this is occurring. And all I'm saying that the same way we use in the National Insurance Fund, we try to forecast where these expenses are likely to occur. All I'm saying, the Central Bank with their resources, the Caribbean Development Bank with their resources, then could form, as it were, a bulwark that can assist countries if they perceive based on the the data that this country is being overwhelmed as a result of what is in fact a good system. So that's all.
All right, thank you so very much. Mr. Abrams has a point.
Yeah, I hear loudly. I hear clearly what the gentleman is actually saying and is actually suggesting. Two things. To your first point, if we thought that more teams were necessary to bring down the backlog, we don't even need to go as far as the other Commonwealth countries. We have more than enough competent lawyers, jurists in Barbados, or if we extend it to the rest of the Caribbean, to completely put that in place. Or the reason that we still have a backlog simply is because more cases are being filed than we can dispose of. So no matter how we try to push it, we still fall behind, because I think Barbados probably files the highest number of civil matters per capita of any country in the Caribbean, right? We responded, we knew we had a backlog, we knew we had a significant backlog. We responded by adding a record number of judges. I think there are now 18 judges in Barbados with a certain amount dedicated to criminal law, right? So we have put the same resources, we followed your idea, right? And that's why we have the increased courtrooms, the increased judges, the whatever. But in a lot of countries in the Caribbean, if a man hit you, you don't necessarily carry any court for it. And I don't mean just a criminal case, but you're not necessarily suing him for the fact that he slapped you. Barbadians know their rights, and Barbadians more than anybody insist on having their rights. And there's a section of Barbados, you would hear people saying it, I want my day in court. A lot of matters in the court system can be settled. A lot of matters, if you look at it objectively, can be settled. As lawyers, we can tell you, if this go to court, he or she can end up getting X. And very often people settle literally on the doorstep of the court. The case about to start today, and the parties reach a settlement, especially when insurance involved. They reach a settlement today before you're going to court. But that case would have dragged the boat in there for 6 or 7 years, occupying time and processing time and protocol time that other cases could have been using, right? So it is, our backlog is a consequence as well, in addition to the fact that we inherited a backlog, is a consequence as well of Barbadians filing a lot of cases. And we are not embracing alternative dispute resolution that are afforded by the court and that's also afforded independently. Every other country in the world is moving away from sending matters into the court and channeling matters towards alternative dispute resolution, towards mediation, towards other things. Not here. Bajans want the day in court, and that contributes significantly to the backlog we're having. But I hear you. No, the level of adjournments is a factor. You've heard the AG talk about it. You heard the Prime Minister talk about it. You heard the Chief Justice talk about it, especially in the criminal court, because we have. If you got into difficulty and you were thinking of a lawyer to represent you, I am sure you would pick from 1 or 4 names. I'm not going to call them kind of advertising for anybody, but the majority of people in Barbados pick from 1 or 4 names. So when those lawyers, and you're entitled to have the lawyer you want, but that lawyer cannot be in 2 or 3 or 4 courts at the same time. So a lot of the matters keep being kicked down the road. Criminal matters take a long time to get going. You hear the Chief Justice every single year in the address to the young lawyers begging people to come into the criminal law system and to practice criminal law. But the reality, Bajans want them 4 lawyers. So it is something that's occupying our mind because it has to be dealt with, right? But it is really, really not that simple. So to your other point now with the CARICOM, I like what you're saying. Give me another microphone. This one is blanking out. I think this one might need a battery changer or something. So I like what you're saying. because before we went into this, we considered all of the parameters, right? This was not something entered into lightly. We eventually went into the full free movement because we believe that's the right way to go, right? But the question was, when we go in it, if we run into difficulties, then what happens, right? In the charter, in relation to the full free movement is also contingent on something else, the ability of the country to sustain it. So if for some reason we got to the point where we as Barbados could not sustain it, there is a built-in thing in there to review and to roll back, right? We don't expect that's going to happen. If we have a downturn in our economy, the downturn in our economy is not going to be as a result of the fact that we have increased persons. Actually, increased persons contribute to the tax base. There's the tax man over there, Ryan. Tell me if I talking sense to you, right? But increased persons contribute to the NAS. Increased persons contribute to VAT in the country. Increased persons contribute to the tax base. So the full free movement is meant to bolster, among other things, the population in Barbados and bolster the available skill sets in Barbados. And if anything, that would help to raise our economy and prevent the downturn that you were talking about. For us to grow our economy, we need a larger population, a larger skill sets, and there's amount of skill sets, and we need to have the resources available on island that can help Barbados develop in the ways that we're looking at. Right? So I don't have the fear that you have, but I take your point because that is something worthy of consideration, not just in relation to downturn, but if for some reason we need assistance based on that, then there should be some avenue to make the appeal for it. If you're somebody who has fully gone ahead and you've received more persons than have actually gone out.
Sorry, just to further elaborate, the CARICOM Development Fund, which is actually right here in Barbados, was established in 2008 for precisely the reasons that you raised. So you would recall that when we came in, we made sure that all of our subscriptions to all the CARICOM institutions were up to date because we were behind, to ensure that we can get all the technical assistance that we can get. So within the context of when the CCJ was formed, I think in 2006 or 7, the Development Fund was established in 2008, and therefore it is already operational. And like Wilfred, I don't necessarily foresee a scenario where we may need to draw from the fund, but if there was a specific sector that we needed to have addressed, then the fund is more than capable of allowing us to be able to assess it.
So that's precisely the point, because perception is greater than reality. And if you have mischievous persons, and the reason why I bring this up, because in South Africa, you had, when the economy was growing, after the economic downturn that occurred in 2021 and 2022, the Zulus turned and persecuted other Africans, not the white persons who were there before, but other persons who had come in from Zimbabwe. They then, a merciless, there's a YouTube video that speaks to it. So that's why I made the point that a prenup is only useful if you try to enter it before you have your first argument. So once we prepare for it, then you immediately start to disarm those who may seek to undermine what is, to all intents and purposes, something that is positive all the way through.
I think we could take the point, right?
So we have a very clear sense as to the growth trajectory for the economy. We have been expanding the opportunities for Barbadians to participate in not just getting the training, but to match them with the opportunities that are coming down the pipeline. Just a few weeks ago, we launched the Jobs Register, which is intended to do exactly that, so that in the planning for the future that not just Barbadians, but those who wish to come here and live will know that this is the flight plan for how we see Barbados transforming over the next few years. And therefore, we welcome people with skills. We welcome people to upskill, add more skills than they currently have, because as things change, we have to make sure that the population, so irrespective of whether it's free movement or not, things are changing. And what Sandra is doing with her ministry is to ensure that Barbadians and those who live here will have access to the training such that we can follow the flight path with respect to the change in the environment. And I think if we stay ahead of the change as best we can, then that is what is going to allow us to be able to continue to deliver for our people. Yeah? Thank you.
Thank you so very much, and we're going to move on to to Kelsey Marshall. Come on.
Hey, good night, everyone. As I said, my name is Kelsey Marshall, and I am the managing director of a nonprofit organization called Flying Fish Friends. The main initiative of the project is to start oceanic fish breeding in Barbados because of the declining numbers of the flying fish. This is an organization that I registered since last year, and I have been trying to get traction and publicity for the organization very unsuccessfully, I should say. But I'm here tonight to share my ideas and stuff like that. So if there's anyone that has any questions, my idea is one, social and economic, because it'll be an oceanic fish farm to control the numbers of the flying fish, maintenance of the fish farm, fish care, stuff like that. That's my idea. In terms of
You could give us, so your idea, I'm understanding you're speaking about aquaculture and mariculture
Yes.
to a certain extent. So you said that this is an organization that you would have formed and so on. If you could just give us a bit of insight into what, like, for example, led you to this point, or what you could see going forward in terms of, say you did get the attention that you're looking for. What's the next step that you're looking
Okay,
to?
well, if I had gotten the attention that I thought, next month, November the 21st, which is actually a Friday, is International Fish Day. So I wanted to hold a gala to raise awareness for the same situation and raise money for the initial fish farm, because I also got someone to already do out the plan and stuff like that for me.
So Kelsey, where is your work done currently? Who do you engage with? Or do you have a group working with you?
Yeah, so there are 4 trustees. 2 of the trustees are fishermen.
Right.
So
So you want to raise awareness around fish farming and what's not?
yes, please.
Okay. So that's an interesting idea, and Roy has a point to make.
Not a point to make, a question. All right, talk a little bit more about it. A fish farm, where do you foresee this taking place? How many fish are you looking to raise within it? Is it commercial quantities? Do you have an idea of how much money you need to get the project going? What kind of jobs it would entail? Just talk about it.
Okay. So as I mentioned just now, it would, in the economic and the social part of it, which would be a benefit to Barbadians, would be the fish farm maintenance, the fish farm building, stuff like that. It takes about 18 months for a flying fish to reach to full maturity. So it wouldn't take long. I also wanted to expand from flying fish to shrimp and lobsters to sell to the local markets, to sell to the hotels and stuff like that. Because my idea was if you initiate the shrimp farming along with the flying fish farming, that will help with the, I don't want to say climate change, but with keeping the waters clean, because shrimps are scavengers.
So Kelsey, Minister Ford here is here to respond to you as well. But we'd like for you to write down your idea, write down your points, write down your project, and we can have a conversation. But Minister Ford is here.
You tell me your name is Kelsey?
Kelsey.
Kelsey. Pleasant good night to you. It will have to be the best kept secret, because
it has to be.
I am the minister responsible for fisheries, and
I have After calling names of people that I've called the fishery divisions, I've spoke to people there, I've spoke to agriculture. I've been doing this since last November.
Yeah. So let me apologize. Let me apologize for keeping that secret a secret. But the reality is that I don't know if you did any fish studies in terms of species studies on the flying fish. Because one of the things you have to look at when you're starting an aquaculture business is the species that can be controlled in an environment that is not totally natural. And the flying fish, up to 2025, with all the studies we have done, there has never been a successful aquaculture farm for flying fish.
Sorry, the plan that I had drawn out, because the flying fish do fly, the net would have gone down, but the net would have also come up to contain them when they were mature enough to fly.
But not only the flying, we're talking about their pelagic behavior in the open ocean, or the phytoplankton they feed on, those things that we found in a natural environment, and then the disease and species that you have to look at in a controlled environment. So it requires a lot of work, it requires a lot of study, but we have not been successful in rearing flying fish or dolphin, because dolphin, the same issue with disease and stuff. So it'd be good for us to have the conversation so
I
we
was
can...
trying to reach out to different Chinese ambassadors and stuff like that, because when I was doing my research, I realized that they had some of the largest and most successful fish farms. So in trying to reach out to the Chinese ambassadors here in Barbados, I find it highly unsuccessful also.
But I just say the name flying fish itself will tell you why it's difficult to change their flight. So that was the problem that they had initially. But I think that what we can do is have the conversation with the experts who will be able to guide you, because aquaculture
And
is
the other
something...
trustees
And the other trustees, because aquaculture is something that we need in order to help with our fish management, because we know very well that the fish stock is depleting across the globe based on climate change and all the other idiosyncrasies. So it'd be good for you to have the conversation. I am now inviting you to have the conversation. I will leave my number with you. You can call me and we can talk about the species and because we are not only encouraging aquaculture, but mariculture as well, because that must be part of the way how we build out our fishing industry in the future if we are supposed to survive under the vagaries of climate change, etc. So we are going to be having a happy relationship.
I hope
and
so.
You can fly to my ministry anytime with the All right, thanks.
Thank you so very much. And thank you for coming tonight and sharing with us. You can see and hear your passion indeed. So next up, last but by no means least, we have Mr. Jamar the Star, Jamar Boyne. I don't know if he's here as Jamar the Star, as an art, but he's coming out here bareback. Sir, please go and put on a shirt.
Good night to everyone. First, let me begin by saying that I do find that the government is doing a commendable job. It's not an easy time to be in government. And I'm not a person that will speak at these forums, but I decided and I told the PM that whenever it's time for Christchurch, that the government has given the opportunity to the people of the country to be heard, and I'm a citizen and I'm going to be heard. First thing first, don't ever diss Arsenal. And you can also tell Senior Minister Simmons that when the election comes around, wear an Arsenal shirt and not a Man U shirt. But first issue I want to deal with to my friend Santia, who's in charge of the Ministry of Transport and Works. I find that that ministry, Santia, needs... Okay.
Apologies for breaking in.
Sure.
The driver of XB230, X-Ray Bravo 230, if you are in here, your vehicle is blocking someone else our driveway, please.
XB230, move your car. I was right, Santia, Ministry of Transport and Works. And first, even before I get to these issues, I find that we in this country are so perfect at identifying problems and not with solutions. So everything that they come with, I'm going to offer a solution. The issue that I have right now with the ministry is dealing with insurance. I went through something, I think I spoke to you and Wilfred about, in terms of just driving up. I was actually leaving Saul Worthing, going up Roundview. Vehicle came out of Massey Worthing, hit the left side of my vehicle onto another side, left the scene of the accident, went to the police. Police say about the registration number you give and the vehicle, which was a Nissan Tita, is coming up as a Suzuki APU van. Under further investigation, because they were telling me that their system was not necessarily up to date with ministry system, but then it worked out that the person vehicle is actually insured, but they still left the scene, and up to now, this matter is still being dealt with. I'm not here to come and talk about all of the issues. I will deal with some issues that I think that needs to be dealt with. It is high time that in 2025, I know that the government can't tell somebody, go and pay the insurance, but just like how America operates with their DMV system, where the license plate is definitely linked to insurance, and that the only place that you can get a license plate from is the DMV. So much so that if your license plate is damaged, if you lose that license plate, you have to report it immediately. I know we tried the sticker system, didn't work, but it is high time that we get more serious with persons driving in this country without insurance. So much so when I went to my insurance, say, Jamar boy, use the third for the week in terms of somebody hitting you and going along without insurance. There are many cars on this road. And ladies and gentlemen, one, two, okay. I don't know if you ever experienced this before. It is not an easy thing to go through. For 6 weeks, I had $3,000. Somebody actually just gave me a car to drive till I could get the check and everything dealt with. But it is not fair to law-abiding citizens who are struggling. And I know a lot of people, and they always encourage them to go pay something on the insurance. The funny thing is, I got in 2 accidents that weekend. One the Saturday, one the Sunday. That one happened the Sunday. The Friday, I paid the insurance here. So I'm just saying to MTW that my thing is that I heard something a couple of weeks ago about these 10 or different places that you could still go and get a license plate from. I don't feel that should be happening. And if this government, like the Prime Minister said, that they want money, that's a good way to make money. But you getting a special Barbados license plate where it is definitely linked, because you know that when you are stopped in the States, the police checking everything. We need to do better than that. That's number one. Number two, from the time I was a little boy and coming up and loving politics, I find we as a nation have been making sport at sport. Came up here at this great school with Chad, watching Wayland Louis run, knowing about Janelle Innes, persons that where their background was not the strongest background. They didn't have a mummy that could come and go to Dr. Best with the physiotherapy and so on. Being involved in athletics and obviously assisting and then getting into the administrative side, I've found that the egos, the egotistic behavior sometimes of us as a people is ridiculous. And we have had world-class talent, Shade being the last person. We need to come together as one and put a greater effort in sport. What is my solution to the minister and to Chad, because it's going to be a link between sport and education. This talk has been going around for a while, having a school of excellence, not just for athletics, having it for football and cricket. A school of excellence is needed in Barbados. The model is a bit more serious in countries like Russia and Cuba, who take the people's children and you don't really get back your child, you know, they take care of your child. We don't need to be a communist country, but we need to make sure that I'm not saying that things are not put in place for young people. And I think, as I said, the first thing I said is that the government is doing a commendable job. But the truth and the reality is ministers, people in government, people fed up here. And people know that there's not really another alternative. But as a street man, when I say a street man, you talk to people on the street, you understand what's going on. We need to do better as a country and you guys as a government. But I'm saying to you, though, I believe, though, that a school of excellence, where you bring a certain syllabus, where the students are geared to do sport, yes, and education, but that needs to be put in place where, and you drive around, you all travel, when you even on the 2, 4, 5 train in New York and you come out and you look down, you're just seeing track, you're seeing this, you're seeing that, you're seeing facilities. And I know it's not that you're going to have, every school is going to have a track, but at least if we had one school that had everything for these students, it would be a great thing. You don't expect it to happen in a near future, but let me think about it and put that forward. Next thing, management of institutions. You guys were young students just like me, and we coming up. There's no accountability for us. I do not know if there is, but for me, it doesn't seem as there's accountability for the management of government buildings. None at all. In 2018, Santi was the Minister of Education. Santi gave me a call Jamar, what really going on at the school? I was like, son, I didn't really feel like talking, but I could talk because of the relationship. Because I, along with the principal, was the only person that did not take action. They took action because of birds and stuff coming into the roof. And when they asked the union rep, where's the paper trail? Because in government, it's paper trail. Where's the paper trail? Where's the information that you would have sent off to the ministry? Oh, don't worry about that. And I'm like, so you want me to take action and I can't see any idiot? So I stayed at school and I explained to Santi what was going on. I sit in the classroom, Santi, and the birds still coming right down too, because that's what I'm saying, that work being done like it is not checked at all. And sometimes we get shoddy work. As I said, I'm not a person of controversy. You hear people talking about, this person give this friend work and this minister give friend work. That's not me. Whoever get the work at the end of the day should do the job that is required. When they have industrial cleaning, what I know, because my mother raised me to be a very clean man, and when I know about industrial cleaning, sometimes the industrial cleaners who come into schools, and as I said, it's dealing with management of government buildings, and there's a lot more that goes on, but I'm just dealing with it because as a teacher for the last 22 years, some of the work that I see happening in schools is really, really and truly, Chad, not good enough. And I always wonder, and it was a very interesting situation when the chief education officer said that she spoke to the head of the whoever does deal with the maintaining the schools, and they assured her that everything was okay. I mean, the chief is not a technical person, so she could only go by that word. But I was disappointed, Chad. I was extremely disappointed because of the mere fact that I know there was walking around and everything done, but that whole saga with Wesley Hall, and it seems to be happening every single school year with the issue with schools, and that could be done better. Final point, yes, I mentioned sports, mentioned the management, mentioned insurance. Can't remember my last one. It was the music, now come and offset me. But just basically though, I just think though that as a nation, and you guys in charge, and as I said, it is not an easy time to be in government. And what I can tell you people is that persons are tired. We know the last administration, we know the damage that was caused, but the average Joe on the street is tired of hearing that. The average Joe on the street will want action done. I have not even touched roads because I understand the road situation. That road situation did not start with you guys, that started from before, and that's going to take time to fix. But at the end of the day, please, ministers, members of parliament, understand that people are fed up. And Roy, you play a very important role in that. The last point you probably will make. 2008, the last administration before they got in, when you guys were in power, had a brilliant PR campaign with this charge sheet. I don't know if you all remember the charge sheet, the charges that were laid against you. And I'm saying that the PR, the Barbados Labour Party for me has always been better than the Dems. And when it comes to PR now, because of the work that you guys do, y'all need to start putting that work out there for people to see and know, because not everybody is going to know. When Kevin Greenwich comes and says the economy has grown 4%, what is that doing to what does that really relate to the man that's selling the snow cone or selling in Swan Street? He's not going to understand that. I'm just saying that we need to come out more, let the people know what you are doing, even if you publish it via the social media. And the thing is, back then, for whatever strange reason, there was social media between 2008 to 18. It was not used as how it's being used now. Take account of what is going on. So use the tools that you guys have to let the people know what is going on. And I think that as a nation, and I remember when the Prime Minister came into power, it was not about if you supported the B, the D is that you're a Bajan first. Come with ideas, and that's why I came here, because I is a Bajan, but I just really right. Thanks.
Thank you so very much, Jamar. Another product of the Foundation School. I really enjoyed, you can go ahead, Jamar. I really enjoyed your point, especially on as it relates to sports and the School of Excellence. I know that is in the plans as part of education transformation to have that. But what I was going to say, well, he's gone now, so I wouldn't say that. Maybe the drivers are trying to get him off the road because he supports Arsenal. But that's a conversation for another day. So that brings a wrap to tonight. I want to thank all the speakers, all the presenters who would have shared their ideas. We definitely will take them into consideration, and hopefully in short order we can implement some of these ideas. So continue sharing, continue progressing, and continue working in your communities. Now I'm going to ask the Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Santia Bradshaw, to just come and do the wrap for tonight. So please welcome the Deputy Prime Minister to the stage. And a former Foundation student as well. So foundation in the house tonight. Alex is telling me to relax, but
All right, pleasant good night to all of you. Welcome to the College on the Hill. I gather that there are quite a number of foundation students in the hall. Can I hear you? Yes, there you go. So I'm going to start with perhaps where we left off. I want to thank Jamar the Star for his contribution. I know it's not easy in these forums for people to speak their mind and to even take the microphone and express how they feel. But every time that we do these events, I feel as though we're getting a little closer to Barbadians being able to really truly say what they feel about how we are performing as a government. And I can tell you that whether it is Ideas Forum, whether it has been any of the other forums that we have done, the truth is that, you know, our backs are very broad. We have taken on board a lot of what people have said. And I think we are no longer even thin-skinned, but in truth and in fact, a lot of what people say here, we go away and we talk about it and we try to figure out how we can improve on those things. So when I heard Kelsey, I felt very positive that here's another young lady who is saying to us, I have big, bright ideas of what I want to do, and I want to thank you, Kelsey, for sharing your idea just now. But what it tells me as well is that sometimes we have to figure out how to connect the dots, because I know that there's not just one young lady out there like you who has an idea but doesn't know how to get in touch with the minister, or that somebody didn't answer the phone to be able to allow you to take your idea to action. And if anything that we are guilty of as a society from the top down is being able to make sure that we connect those dots better for our young people and for people generally who have ideas. I think Jamar touched on another issue of productivity. We're seeing the issues across the board. A lot of the complaints that are here speak, whether it's roads, whether it is education, regardless of the area, it is speaking to the issue of productivity. The ministers get blamed for everything. The government is going to get blamed for everything. But the reality is that we alone, we set the policy. We also are responsible for making sure that the people implement the policy. But we also can be there every day watching over people to make sure that they patch the roads correctly. We can, but then you're going to still want us to do all of the other things that we have to do. So we set the policy, and I think what has happened is that standards have dropped across the board. We can talk about it in roads, we can talk about it in public transport. We see what has happened with the PSVs, and I hear you loud and clear in terms of the concerns that have been expressed regarding the PSVs. I say to you, stay tuned, because some things are about to happen. And it is not talk anymore. This morning I had a meeting with my colleague Minister Jad Blackman, along with the education officials, along with the PSV stakeholders. They are committed to being able to root out the minority drivers who are causing the fracas on our roads and endangering the lives of our people, in particular our young people. And with that commitment, it gives us a sure-footed way of being able to deal with these types of acts when they happen. We have the legislation. We're waiting in this particular case over the last few days to make sure that we have the facts before we act. Because I've heard different stories. I don't know what the stories are, and I'm therefore not going to prejudice anybody by speaking to something until we have clear facts before we take action. But I want to assure all of you that the intention of both Transport Authority and the Ministry is to take action once we are concrete on what the steps are. As it relates to, I think it was Mr. Garner, the legend, who raised the issue of demerit points. The truth is the demerit points already exist on our statute books in the Road Traffic Act. The challenge has been enforcement. The challenge has been that we have outdated laws, which we are in the process between all of the various authorities and along with these Solicitor General's chambers to be able to update. So you have offenses where perhaps 20 years ago it was felt that 2 points may have been relevant for a particular offense. Today, based on what we see on our roads, the same thing cannot apply. And therefore, with all of the changes in the legislation, it is now time that we make the changes to tighten the legislation. So I do agree with you that the demerit point system is needed, but I want to assure you we got it already. But like most things, sometimes if you don't act quickly to be able to make the updates, then the law enforcement officials tend to not implement it because they feel as though it's a waste of time. And I think that is what has happened over the course of the last few years. So that too is between Transport Authority, the Chief Licensing Officer. We are reviewing what we have. We are making sure that the merit point system is up to date in terms of what we've just done in terms of the Transport Authority regulations to tighten the PSV sector, but we're also going to bring other drivers in line under the similar demerit point system. It's a schedule to the actual act, which we just have to update, and then we will make that public in due course. So I take your observation from no doubt your global travels, and I hope that we can implement it very soon within Barbados as well. As it relates to the roads, I am dressed like this because I just came from the launch of, well, the 80th anniversary of the JCB brand. JCB is responsible for a lot of the equipment that you see across the island, and we wanted to meet with them to obviously have them as a partner on board with the Ministry of Public Works. They have been working with us, and I can announce it here that we have basically purchased 6 of the pothole patching machines, which will arrive in the island in December. The intention as well is that we will have some flail mowers that will allow us to be able to do a lot of the vegetation cutting, and where obviously the highway beautification workers have not been able to get to certain areas because it requires a particular type of machinery. So we've invested in 6 of those as well. Now, that is in addition to the roadworks program, because you cannot only patch roads, you also have to fix lengths of road. And I think I've said it here in various forums that what we inherited was a situation where we are now playing catch up. So we are patching, we are reconstructing roads, we are rehabilitating roads, we are doing everything we can. But the truth is, and I can say this as minister without fear of contradiction, that even for me, every time I fix a road, I feel good. But you know, when I drive around on a Sunday and I take my father in the car and we go for a little drive in the country, I find another road that won't do it. And I'm sure that in your community here in Christchurch, you do the same thing. You drive through Christchurch and you tell yourself, man, the minister might need to come and fix this road. The MPs are constantly calling me about roads that need doing. And we've been trying to do a cycle of roads across the 30 constituencies. And why? Because while Christchurch may feel they should get the lion's share, I have rural areas, I have urban areas that also require a little bit of love as well. And we have tried from a policy standpoint to apportion the roadwork improvements in everybody's community across the 30 constituencies. So my colleagues will tell you they have another batch of roads recommended. The ministry will tell you they've recommended another set of roads. We pull the roads from off of the calling programs, we pull the roads off of social media, we pull the roads from Dunksman when he put them up and he posts that we ain't got a road that has been completed. And why? Because we are listening to what you're saying. The Chancery Lane Road and the one up Atlantic Shores, that has gone out under the CAF Road program. That is going to be designed now, and that is going to soon start in terms of its construction. I think I heard Enterprise Road. That is another one that we've also sent out to have the works done. And why am I saying this in this forum is because even Time Bottom to Ferry Valley, in this forum over the last few years, all of you who have been present and those who are not here tonight have raised the issues of specific roads in communities, stretches of roads and minor roads. And we have gone back to the ministry and systematically tried to address them in various programs. So you will see some patching being done. You're going to see the Mill and Pave program being done. You're going to see CAF roads being done. And if you live in the Scotland district, you're going to see about 18 roads dig up across the Scotland district. Roadworks are happening. But when you have had so many years of not having roadworks being done on a consistent basis, it is always going to feel as though, man, they ain't doing nothing. They gotta fix this road. When y'all said Highway 7, I remember a permanent secretary in the Prime Minister's office got in this room and said, Highway 7 needs to be done. We couldn't disagree, okay? And she was speaking in her personal capacity. but she was a resident of Christchurch, someone traversing the South Coast. And what did we do? We pulled it out of brought it up on the program, because we still have major works to do on Highway 7 for rehabilitation, which those plans are pretty much in motion. We're just waiting until we have the designs completed, all of the utility companies coordinated, and we're going to start Highway 7 as well. So I want this forum to understand that this is not to be taken for granted. We don't come here every month to simply hear you and dismiss you. I certainly, as Minister of Public Works, I'm listening and I'm making sure that we systematically address the concerns that you have. As it relates to the crossing, again, we've started the conversation with education, so we're going to be meeting with them regularly to deal with those issues, the pedestrian crossings, to deal with the issues of school zones. We spoke this morning about the dedicated bus system, because you've heard me announce that we are moving in that direction. We've already got 30 buses from the People's Republic of China, but by the end of this year, we are going to see another 35 buses coming, electric buses coming to this country to be able to address some of the issues that you have raised here in this forum in Christchurch and across all of the other IDEAS forum and all of the other forums that we have had. And our intention, from what the Prime Minister says to me, is that with the dedicated bus system, when we have the money, we're going after another 30 to 35 buses, which is what Chad and myself this morning have been sitting down and working through with the public officers. So I want you to understand, we may not get everything right all the time, and I agree with Jamar that the options are not great on the other side, but we are not perfect. But I assure you that we are working in the interests of each and every one of you to be able to knock off those bugbear issues that you have been dealing with. All right, so again, I want to take the opportunity to thank our host this evening, our MCs, and to say to you, we look forward to annual conference this weekend, the Barbados Labour Party's annual conference, as we celebrate our 87th year. And we also look forward to the next IDEAS Forum, which will be hosted in St. Michael in November, along with our regathering activities for St. Michael as well. So thank you, God bless, and get home safely.
Thank you all. Good night. Remember, there's an open invitation for you to go over to the playing field next door and be part of the celebrations. MPs in particular and other senior people who are here, there's a tent specially reserved for you, where you will be fed.